What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, another week, another town hall. I guess it's another 2 weeks and another town hall. This is for February 29th, 2024, so happy leap day or leap year. This is actually kind of exciting because I don't know when we will ever have another town hall on a leap year or leap day. So I guess celebrate it while it's here. Now, for those who might be new to the channel or new to the just this series, every time there is a Splinterlands town hall, I do my 5 biggest takeaways. It is not a summary. There's other fantastic video and content creators that written and video content creators that put together full summaries. So please go support them. For me, this is just the 5 things that stood out that I thought were worth talking about. And as you can see, I also have a little bonus item here as well. Now, before we jump in, I'll preface this and say there wasn't much new in this town hall. A lot of it was just kind of rehashing what had been released earlier in the day, which was a major overhaul to ranks. So kudos to the team for, dropping that without any major issues. And so far, it seems to be very well received. The other things were things that we know are coming up in the future, but at least we were given a little bit, there's some details peppered in. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The first one is that the Grain LP and Reward rework are next on the list for, items that the team wants to push out, and they're hoping to do that within the next 2 months. So I know I've been a little bit obnoxious about land, and I've been saying 1.6, they're pushing it off until after new player stuff, and that's not coming out until the second half of the year. Well, I was wrong, happily. I'm happy to be proven wrong. It sounds like this is something that is imminent. I believe they even said it's in testing right now. So at this point, it's good to see 1.6 in the mix. I will say, land 1.6 that is. I will say this though. If we're getting land 1.6, in Q2, because keep in mind, there's only one release date in March because they pulled up the March 5th one to now. So there's only, I believe it's March 19th is the only release date. So if we're not getting, if we're getting grain in, March or sometime in Q2, and keep in mind, there's still a bunch of other things with 1.6 that the team wants to put out. So if we're getting that throughout Q2, to me, that says they're not, even really started on 2.0, which means elements of 2.0, I don't think 2.0 is going to be out in all of its glory in 2024. I've said this many times. And, while I think certain elements can be out now, I'm thinking, well, okay, maybe that's going to be more like a Q4 thing, which isn't terrible, right? But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to keep my expectations somewhat tempered here. The reward rework is something that we're all looking forward to as well. And that's going to have, instead of you getting your daily chest, it becomes like an arcade style thing where you can, you get reward points for every battle that you win, and then you can go redeem them for chests that have, different rarities or chances and probabilities for all the different items. There's actually a couple of new items added in, which we'll talk about in number 3. But just to finish out the updates, let's move straight on to number 2. And that is the fact that the card burning event is on hold for now. And Matt took in a lot of the feedback and the criticism, hopefully constructive criticism from the community for this. And to me, it makes sense, right? Even though I voted for it, it did feel a little uninspired, right? We were using the same titles, and it was just, it seemed as though we were doing it just because Matt said, he thought it was a good idea and he wanted to do it at some point. So I don't mind the team actually taking a step back from this and refocusing and figuring things out. Now, that being said, I do believe there is going to be some kind of promo card sale or promo card for the halving, right? Which is coming up in about a month and a half from now. So whether that's part of a burn event or, just, the team selling it on their own for revenue, that is something to look forward to. And I will say this about the burning event or the burn event overall. I really don't think that we need a card burn event. I've taken a lot of the criticism that people have thrown at card burning, saying it's just going to burn all the bottom feeders. It doesn't really do much overall. And, there's some merit to it. There's some good counter arguments. But my thought would be, let's just have another burn event. We did one last June. And let's just have another burn event where you can burn cards, but similar to what this proposal was, the primary focus is let's burn as much DEC as possible. Let's burn as much DEC, vouchers, all these different things. Let's burn as much as possible and make it into an annual thing where, every summer the team has time to prepare in advance and they can come up with cool prizes and ideas and leaderboards and stuff like that. So I would prefer something like that where it's not a card burning event, but just an annual burning event that maybe happens every June or every summer. And something that the team can prepare for, where it's not like, okay, we just need to put something together to put something together. It's like, hey, this is like an annual event where we're going to burn as much as possible. Vouchers, DEC, I mean, maybe even SPS. Wouldn't it be interesting if like you just got a bunch of people to burn SPS during that time frame, and they got something cool. Maybe they got a specific thing, and obviously they would get to keep all the DEC, but it's just who could burn as much SPS during that time frame. It could be really interesting. So I don't know. To me, I do feel like there are better ways to do it, and I'm glad the team is taking a step back to focus on that. Okay, number 3, so kind of in line with the reward rework, is there will be energy and titles available for your reward points. And you will be able to burn your Soulbound cards for reward points as well. So it's kind of like a little bit of a dusting system. Now, the titles are interesting because there is an opportunity here for exploitation. But Matt quickly shut that down by saying, titles are going to be high ticket items where, even if you're a top champ level player, it's going to take you a couple of months of not, getting anything else, saving up your rewards, your reward points, and then going for it. And they would be limited in quantity. The energy side is cool too, because it could feed into this idea of like, hey, if you keep on getting reward points, you could just turn those into more chances at getting SPS. So you're not worried about cards, right? You're not worried about potions or whatever else comes in the thing. You could just be getting energy. You could be getting energy, which in turn leads to potentially more reward points. Now, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's a potential for some kind of exploitation with that. I guess they would need to make the energy cost really high for your reward points, just so that, you're not getting people in bronze that, it only costs like X amount for bronze. And again, they just keep on feeding themselves by getting more and more SPS. Now, again, would that be, no, I wouldn't want to see that happen, because again, that I just wouldn't want any kind of exploitation. But it is cool to think about the fact that like, man, you know what? If I don't really care about the rewards, or my cards are maxed out, my Soulbound reward cards are maxed out, I just want to play the game more. I just want to earn more SPS. I can go and do that now. And I can, hopefully choose to do that with the energy. So that should be fun. I just hope that they are aware and try to close any loopholes that would lead to exploitations. Number 4, similar to the Soulbound rewards being burnable for reward points, you will soon be able to burn your Gladiator cards for merits. Now, I don't know anybody that has a maxed Gladiator set, but at this point in time, you can burn them for DEC. And the reason that I like this so much, one, is it makes sense that you dust it for a currency, right? Even though it's a Soulbound currency, merits, that you can then go and try and get more, right? So it's just like, all right, yeah, you know what? I don't need this one, or I don't need a gold foil of this one. Let me go ahead and just try my chances again by buying another Gladius pack. I like that. I also very much like the fact that this will no longer be a source of inflation for DEC, because this was a sneaky one. And I'll tell you right now, I've even talked about it on live streams. I am planning and probably will burn my Gladiator cards for DEC so that I can turn into real value and then buy cards that I want. Or at least, sorry, not all my Gladiator cards, but specifically like gold foil ones that I don't really need, or that, I'm not chasing specifically after. So at this point in time, it's going to be an interesting change. I think it is good for several reasons, and I'm glad that they're putting it in. But there is a timer for people who want to burn their Gladiator cards for DEC. So just keep that in mind. And then lastly, there was a fantastic question asked of Matt where they said, you're changing the reward pool by essentially taking, the reward pool that was supposed to go to reward chests and now putting it into ranked battle, right? So you get paid out every battle rather than it being, SPS being in chests. Isn't that something that the DAO should be voting on? To which Matt replied and said, you don't, like, the DAO has allocated this amount of SPS to the team. The team can choose what they want to do with it from there. And if the community doesn't like it, then the DAO can vote to, revoke that. Now, I'm thinking about this in the sense of like Soulkeep, just because, and again, it's not a perfect example because that game isn't even launched, but we allocated the SPS to Soulkeep, and then we also allocated, it to the packs. Now, once the packs once the game is out, will we need to turn this around and make a change and vote on it in the way that we've done in the past? Probably. And so I think it was actually a fair criticism of, the team kind of taking unilateral action on the reward pool without the DAO's consent, just because I think the precedent has been set before. Not necessarily that it's out of bounds or out of, the jurisdiction for the team to actually do that. So I thought it was just interesting. And I will say this, I'm actually in favor of it. I think Matt and team should have a little bit more control and shouldn't have to like come to the community for every little thing, because the community is bigger so much. We can't make decisions, and it's just so difficult. So I'm okay with this. And I like the fact that Matt put the disclaimer on the back end saying like, yeah, the team can choose what they want to do with it. If you don't like it, then put in a proposal and change it. And I think that makes sense, because if you get 2/3 of the SPS stake to be like, whoa, 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 Matt, slow down. Well, then all of a sudden, like, that shows overwhelming, support against, whatever the team has been doing, or in favor of doing something else. And so I wonder what things will be like with Soulkeep when that goes live. Again, it's like 1 million SPS that's going there per month. So again, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But in the same way, and again, people are going to be like, oh, how can you trust Double Coconut? Blah, blah. I mean, I don't. It's just give them the authority. Just, in my opinion, give them the authority. And if they don't like it, we as SPS stakers be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to take the rewards back, or we want you to do it a different way. Because sometimes this stuff can just get slowed down for a bit, and then you have a lot of people who just love to stonewall in the rewards, or sorry, in the voting. So at this point in time, I'm totally okay with the team taking a little bit more unilateral action. And as we mature as a community and as a governance structure, we can start to do that a little bit more. And then finally, let's just go into the bonus part here. Matt doesn't expect much from Killer Whales. He's talked about the fact that, the team has done all different kinds of PR and advertising and stuff before. And so they're not changing any strategies necessarily. And I thought it was fantastic that he said, when we rush things out, especially if it's, to rush something out for Killer Whales, which is coming out in a couple of weeks, the quality's not great, and it just puts a lot of strain on the team. It's not good for morale. So I think, the leadership approach that Matt is taking, and this is not a commentary on aggro, I'm just saying that I'm glad Matt's talking about this kind of like out loud, right? Where it's just like, yo, we know that there's this potential for this show to take off and, to come in, but we want to make an awesome game, and we want everybody to have fun and enjoy the process of making an awesome game. So here's the thing. If the team doesn't have the reward rework ready by the 11th, or if they don't have all the tutorials and videos and stuff ready by the 11th, is it going to be the end of the world? No, probably not, because I don't think everybody's going to be watching on the 11th anyway. Plus, maybe we could hit a new Bitcoin all-time high before then, but I genuinely think if we hit a new all-time high or the halving, whichever comes first, there's still going to be a decent, at least 6 to 12 to 18-month run that happens after that, at which point, a lot of the attention is just on Bitcoin and crypto right now, not specifically on certain niches such as gaming or such as AI. And I do genuinely think that, even though some of the other games are popping relatively well, we'll probably have to wait for an Axie Infinity moment for people to be like, oh, gaming is back, right? Gaming is back. Let's go and see what's out there. At which point, then they would probably stumble upon the Killer Whales episode, because it'd be like, oh, whoa, this is like a crypto influencer Shark Tank thing specifically on gaming. Let me see what games they're talking about, right? Because I'm looking for the other games that haven't popped off yet. At which point, that could be the time, that episode gets a lot of viewership, rather than it just launching, to kind of nothingness, right? It's just going to launch on Apple TV, and sure, maybe some people will check it out, but the right people who are looking for games to invest in and to play wouldn't necessarily be looking for that until after the market's really picked up much more. So that's kind of where things are at. That was the 5 biggest takeaways from the town hall. I don't believe I have anything else, and yeah, we'll have to wait another couple weeks here, but should be exciting nonetheless. No release next week, so just keep that in mind. Although we are 10 days away, and depending on when you watch this, maybe even less than 10 days away from the launch of Killer Whales on Apple TV, and I believe Tubi is where it's launching as well. So exciting times ahead for Splinterlands. I think a lot of people are having fun with the new ranked play, and shout out to the team. This has been actually a decently jam-packed Q1 so far, and if they can knock out 1 or 2 of these items, the Grain LP or the Reward Rework in the first in March, I will say that, this Q1 is just like last Q1, where they were just shipping stuff every single week and, keeping everybody engaged. So, it's good times overall. Obviously, number go up and green candles help with that sentiment, but it is what it is. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.